Hi, I'm Glenn Villar of Cat6 Solutions. Welcome to my vlog.
Rain Access Solutions.
For this episode, I'm just going to show you how I create patch cable with Cat6 or Cat5e using an Rj45 connector. For this demonstration, you will be needing an Rj45, a pair of it, and Cat6 cable. Cat6 cables are thicker than usual Cat5, and you will also need this stripper. The Cat6 or Cat5e stripper, wire stripper, and you have to select the one with the adjustable stripper, where you can adjust the thickness of its blade cutting depth. When you're cutting or you're stripping the Cat6, you might want to leave at least 2 inches or 1 inch. It's up to you, but for me, it's a comfortable length to leave at least 2 or 1.5 inch of space when I'm stripping the Cat6. Okay, when you remove the Cat6 using the wire stripper cutter, you must make sure that you don't damage the wire strand inside, and no copper should be exposed when you attempt to strip the Cat6 of its skin. So once you remove the upper skin, you will notice that it has a strand, like a thread. Now this thread is used for peeling off more of the skin that protects the wires. You might want to remove it because it will get on the way. If your fingers are a bit weak, you can use plier to pull it off a bit. Hold it, make sure that you're pulling it off before you cut it, so that when you pull it off and cut it, the remaining strands will retreat back inside, and you will be free from this annoying thread sometimes. Now in the middle of these 4 pairs is plastic that serves as its guide, and it also protects it from bending too much. It's a bit thick and it's a bit hardy, so you will also need to remove this, cut it off. Again, if you have a weak finger, you will be needing a plier to pull it out. Pull as much plastic as you can from it. Don't worry, it won't break easily. And while you're pulling it out, keep on folding the remaining, the strands, the wires backward, so when you cut it, you won't harm the wires. Now that you feel that this is as much as you can pull, then you can go ahead and cut it. And as you can see, after you cut it, the plastic in the middle, the thing that I just cut off, will retreat back inside, like a quarter of an inch or an eighth of an inch. So now you are very free to manipulate these strands now without having to worry about the plastic and the thread getting in your way. For this demonstration, I'm going to use the type 56A, which is the white, green, and green pair on the left side, white, brown, brown on the right side, followed by white, orange, and orange, and the blue will always stays in the middle. It will stay in the middle. You know, 13 years ago, one of my mentor for networking, Dennis, he was the one who taught me how to properly crimp this, and I just improved it a bit. So he taught me that the best way to remember the color coding is to always stick the blue out in the middle, like that. Then the brown, no matter what, will always go to the right. And in the 5/6A type connection, like what we're doing now, the green will always be sticking to the left. Now your orange and white orange pair will always go in between the blue and the brown. So you won't get into trouble if you follow this color coding. Always put the blue in the middle first, then follow it by setting the brown and white brown on the right and green and white green on the left. Now the first thing you must do after you separate the color pairs is that you untwist them and try to straighten them. So what I'm doing here is I'm just trying to straighten it with a light, I'm pinching it lightly and pulling it outwards. So as you can see, those wavy lines are now turning into a straight line. You know, just to remind you, this thing could like hurt your finger skin if you're not careful. You know, the friction will become hot, and your finger will get, you know, will get a paper cut if you try and pinch it hard. So what you do after you straighten the brown and white brown, follow it with straightening up the orange and white orange. Now when you have gotten used to straightening these things up, you can actually increase the pressure and put a little bit of strength while you're pulling it out, so it bends. It's straightened up nicely, as you can see here. I'm trying to put some more force into straightening them. When you're applying more force to it, the wire has a tendency to curve. But don't worry, you can straighten the curve easily. Well, the good thing with wires is that they tend to have this memory thing that they remember the last orientation that you force them to go into. So if I bend them, then they will be bent for the rest of their lives, and if you straighten them, then it's gonna be straight until someone, you know, applies a different orientation to them. So as you can see, I'm straightening the white, blue, and blue now, and I'm applying a much stronger force to straighten it up, you know, easily. So the last thing that you will ever untwist and straighten is the white, green, and green. Always put them to the last, so you will always remember that they're always to the left. You always start from the right to left and not the other way around. So that way you will always remember that number 1 is the brown and it goes to the left side, and your number 8 will be the white, green. So again, after you straighten them, follow the color coding that you did earlier. Okay, so one more thing. You must always remember to alternate the color coding, the solid color and the non-solid color. So another thing is that why on this typical type of connection, the white, orange, and orange are separated. So the white orange sits in between the blue and green, and the orange sits between the white blue and white brown. This is an Rj45 connector, and I'm showing you the gap inside it and that boundary there, where that is where you're going to insert the orange plastic or the skin of the Cat6. Remember that it is necessary to insert some of the skin inside, because if you don't, then you will not have a proper grip of this crimp cable. It will be easily removed later. I mean, people can just accidentally pull it out and it will easily damage the crimped cable. So I'm going to cut it, and when you cut the wires, make sure that you have enough length to observe your color. So what I'm doing is that I'm cutting it little by little, and while confirming those color coding if they are still okay. So when you see and when you feel that the lengths are short enough to match the length of the gold, contact points, then you can insert them easily in there. So fit them snugly and make sure that the orange goes up to where the boundary is, and that the wires are going up to the top, to the tip. So as you can see, the color coding here is white, green, green, white, orange, blue, white, blue, orange, white, brown, and brown. You must have the gold pin out spacing facing you. Look at the side there. The golds are like aiming directly at where our wire is. If it needs more pushing, then just push it inwards, and as you can see, it just slides it easy. It just slides easily. This is because we removed the plastic thing that it's in the middle of the Cat6 cable. If we didn't do that, then you'll have a hard time orienting this wires inside. Now you will have to use this Cat6 crimper or Cat5 crimper and put it inside. Now remember to push them inward as hard as you can before you press the crimping tool, or before you lock them in place. As you can see, I'm locking it in place now, while at the same time pushing the cable in. Now this has a tendency to bend the cables after the connector, but it's okay, it's fine. As long as this is sturdy and the skin inside is locked by it. Yeah, after you successfully crimp this connector, you will need to pull up this lock behind, so that it will also click when you insert them into an Rj45 port. So let's go ahead and crimp the other side. Now that I have crimped the other side as well, let's examine the wires carefully. Both of these Cat6 should have the same wire arrangement. If one of these color coding are switched, then the network might not function properly. Now you will need a some sort of tester or LAN tester, cable tester to test out your recently crimped cable, patch cable. This type of tester has a loop and an in. You can use the remote unit, or you can just use the main unit such as this one to test both the ends of my Cat6 connection. So there's the click that I'm talking about. So these are the numbers, the pinout indicators that will tell us if both cables are connected properly. As you can see here, it's a straight through connection. One is to 1, 2 is to 2, and so on. So you can also do the manual thing. If I press it, the test signal will move from strand to strand. Our cable is okay, and it was crimped properly. So anyway, this is how you crimp the cable properly. Don't worry about the curve, you can straighten it later. This is the proper way of terminating the Cat6 or Cat5. If you find this video useful, please subscribe, like my post, and thank you very much for watching. Have a nice day, everyone. Goodbye.